Let me start off by saying tough operating conditions for us, and that's reflected in the numbers. Disappointed in the numbers and wanting to somehow do better. But having said that, let me explain, give some color behind the problems that we had. We spoke about the Lilian Ngoyi gas explosion. That is in itself old news. However, what is of more concern to us is the city of Johannesburg's inability to come up with not only a end date, but at least a start date when we're properly on site again. There's nobody on site. Previous contracts were cancelled, and from our discussions with the team late last week, nobody's on site yet. So nobody's on site, and we don't know therefore when this thing will finish. So that for me is the big concern. There are about 14 of those buildings that are affected. We estimate that the current loss because of this, which is both residential as well as residential, is about 34 million rand. But having said that, I think that when one walks around, and this is a personal observation, the rest of Johannesburg seems to be intact. It's that area surrounding Lilian Ngoyi that's really not good from both a residential as well as a retail sector. I want to try and move on to some of the better stuff that I think that we've done, and perhaps when you look at the numbers, don't always get an accurate assessment of what's really going on. I think we whilst the numbers, as I'm repeating myself, haven't been great, the team have been active, which I'm very happy about. There are a number of renovations that we've now completed. There were two big residential not conversions, but renovations. Our shopping centres have undergone quite a bit of work, both in terms of refurbishment as well as and here's the big one, a great improvement to our tenant mixes. Health Connect is up and running. But for me, the exciting one is still going to be Yetu City, which is a recognition of the fact that South Africa is going through tough times, and probably will, to a large extent, continue, in the sense that a lot of people need accommodation. It's one of South Africa's pressing problems, and how to give the people, because they're still bankable, how to give the people who can't quite afford the entry level at which the current offering is made available, give those people that are bankable something at a slightly less of an entry level, but at the same time maintaining a relatively high level of accommodation. And the acid test for me is always, would I be willing to live in there with a certain amount of dignity? And the answer to that question is yes. We are finishing, I think there's about a two-week delay, and we hope to start letting this in mid to late January, somewhere around there. But I anticipate that demand is going to be high. What I like about it is that it's not Octodec's job to provide the people of South Africa accommodation. However, if we can do it and at the same time show reasonable returns, well, then that's a win-win situation. And this opportunity with Yetu City in its pilot project, this is a pilot project. If it works out, it certainly gives us the opportunity to deal with some of the other vacancies that at the moment we don't know what's happening. We can't deal with it, rather, sorry. A little bit on the problems that we've had this year. We've dealt with, I've spoken to you about the gas explosion, the interest rate cycle coming down, albeit fairly slowly. But remember, we have an August year end, so the benefit of the interest rates not yet flowing through in that set of accounts. Also, to an extent, tempered by the swaps, the full benefit not quite flowing through immediately. We are to an extent hedged, and government of national unity. That was an event that happened in this financial year under review, which made perhaps the singularly most important task that we see to be done, and that is very difficult, and that is the sale of property. In the run-up to the government of national unity, well, the elections, which resulted in a government of national unity, as well as a good few months after the elections, very difficult to move with our kind of property. I would imagine that was true for most of our competitors in the listed sector. But for us in particular, one of the things that we deal with is the lack of availability of funding. But we ask for potential purchases. But we are seeing one or two, and right now I'm seeing a slightly, albeit smaller ones, an improvement in the level of inquiries and sales that are happening within in the business.